Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Soul and Screen. In this particular video, we will be continuing the conversation in regards to soul ties. We are using the TV show Tyler Perry's Sisters, and we are discussing the situationship between Zach, Fatima, and Karen. So, to pick up where we left off last video, basically was Zach and Fatima leaving Karen's house after being basically kicked out after she got upset because the conversation basically didn't go the way that she wanted to. So anyway, if we fast forward a few days into the series, what basically happens is Andy actually finds out that Zach and Fatima are engaged, and she basically ends up asking Fatima, like, why didn't you tell me? Fatima basically tells her, I didn't tell you because I don't want you to tell Karen. And she's like, well, I wouldn't have done that. And Fatima's like, yeah, I know you wouldn't have done it because I wasn't going to tell you. And so basically Andy continues to ask Fatima, like, well, are you going to marry him? And Fatima basically says that she is in love with Zach. She tells Andy that she's in love with Zach, but she definitely wants to see what's going to go on and happen with this baby stuff before they actually really start setting a date and planning or anything like that, especially now knowing that Karen is like so heated and upset. Like, so she's like, I really just kind of want to see what happens before I do anything. So she's like, okay, got you. I understand. So Fatima leaves, she goes home, and Zach is waiting for her when she pulls up, and he's all excited to see her. He's like dancing, hey, he's like singing my baby home, and he's all making all these like just gestures and stuff. And she gets out the car, and he, helps her out the car. He kisses her, and she's just like cheesing ear to ear because he is just like beaming as he sees her. And she's like, what are you doing? And he's just like, this is like the best part of my day. And she's like, what? And he was like, when you come home. And she's like, really? And so he's like really just like loving on her and just telling her that, he just loves seeing her and loves when she comes home. That's like the best part of his day. And so she's just like, why are you being so sweet and saying all the right stuff? And he's like, I don't never say the right stuff. And she's like, well, you are right now. And so he's like, I got a surprise for you. Close your eyes. And so he goes in and takes her in the house, and they start talking, and they end up discussing, basically he has like dinner waiting for her. So he cooked dinner, and they end up talking, and she's like, what are you doing? And he's like, I just really want to marry you. Like, let's just go right now. Let's go to the justice of the peace and do this. And she's like, Zach, no. And he's like, no. And she's like, babe, I do love you. I love you, and I want to marry you, but I want a wedding at the church with my family there. And he's like, really? And she's like, yeah. And so he's like, all right, then fine. I guess I'll wait. And she's like, good. And so while she was talking to Andy, it kind of came out that something like she knew something was up with Karen, because Andy had went to the doctor with Karen and found out that the time frame, according to the doctor's time frame, it looks like the baby may be Zach's, but it's still too short of a window because it's only 7 days apart. So with Fatima kind of knowing Andy can't lie, she basically tells Zach, I think we need to talk to Karen, and we need to talk to her now. And he's like, we need to talk to her now. And she's like, yeah. He's like, right now? He's like, I just got done cooking and all this kind of stuff. And she's like, yeah, but we need to take care of this. And he's like, I'm not calling her. And they have their little cute banter moment. And she's like, yeah, we're going to do it now. And he was like, well, can we do it after? And she was like, now, if we do it after, you're going to be wanting some. And, I'm kind of wanting some too. So let's just get this over with now. And he's like, but this is going to ruin everything. And anyway, of course, Fatima makes him call. So they call Karen, and Fatima basically tells Zach, well, we need to invite her over to the house so that we can discuss everything with both of us, with both of us there, and try to get something in place, because he has already made arrangements with Heather in regards to Michael, child support arrangements and things like that. And she wanted him to do the same thing with Karen. So basically they call Karen, and Karen answers the phone, and he's like, hey, I want to talk to you. And she's like, about what? And he's like, about the baby. And he's like, anyway, I wanted to know if you would stop, if you can come by And she was like, well, if I come by, are you going to let me in this time? And so just trying to really get a rise out of him again. Like, enough with the shenanigans. Like, he trying to have a conversation and you keep trying to bait him into an argument and it's just not working. So he does not engage when she goes, are you going to invite me in this time? But let me just put a pin here. He ain't never invited you in the first place. So that's the reason why you didn't get asked in, is because you keep popping up at the house. That whole let me offer before you start asking and just showing up like that. You know what I mean? Like, she just showed up over and over again and then gets mad when he doesn't invite her in. But this time he's actually inviting her over. So why wouldn't he invite you in? Anyway, so Karen says, fine, I'm actually gotta make a stop anyway, so I'll stop over on my way to Andy's house. And he's like, fine. And so basically she gets off the phone with him. She immediately calls Andy, and she's like, did you tell Fatima? And Andy's like, did I tell Fatima what? She's like, did you tell Fatima that the baby is supposed to be Zach's? And she goes, no, I didn't. And she goes, oh, that's weird though, because they just invited me over to the house. Now Andy, knowing that Fatima and Zach are engaged, is not sure what this meeting is about, but so she's like, I'm gonna meet you over there. And Karen is like, for what? And she's like, I just feel like I need to be there. So she hangs up with Karen and calls Fatima and tells Fatima, like, what's going on? And Fatima like, I don't know what you're talking about. She's like, why are you meeting with Karen? And she's like, because Zach needs to talk to her. Like, and she looking at her like, why is that even in your business, right? But she was like, well, I'm coming too. And so she was like, Andy, please, like, give me a break. And Andy's like, no, I'm coming. Don't open the door till I get there. So Fatima hangs up and tells Zach that Andy's coming too. And he's like tripping out because he's really trying to distance himself from the sister circle. But Fatima and Andy are like having this friendship that's growing, and he's like seeing how he just is not going to get away. So anyway, fast forward into the evening a little bit more. Karen and Andy show up at the house. They knock on the door. Zach opens the door. Fatima invites them in. She's like, come in, have a seat. They sit down. And when before they sit down, Karen is walking in the house and she is like looking at everything. She's looking through the kitchen. Like, instead of just walking in and having a seat, like, she's looking throughout the entire house, right? And then she sits down and she has this attitude on her face, and so they all sit down, and then Fatima goes, so are you guys ready to talk? And so, it kind of like, she goes, are you guys ready to talk? And they just look at each other, and she goes, before we get started, can I get you guys anything to drink like a proper host does? And so she, so Andy's like, oh yeah. And then Karen's like, no, I just want to know what I'm doing here. So Fatima looks at Zach like, just go ahead. And so he was like, I just wanted to talk to you. And she was like, about what? And he was like, about the baby, of course. And so she goes, okay. And he goes, so Fatima and I talked, and we discussed everything and made a decision that if the baby is mine, I'm going to be there fully. And she was like looking, and she was like, so you talked to Fatima first and then you decided, got you. Okay, well, okay, that's good to know. And so he goes, well, anyway, I was thinking everything over and feel like, we need to talk about the child support stuff. And she's like, well, why you want to talk about child support all of a sudden like this? You don't even know if it's really your baby. And he's like, I understand that we still don't know whose baby it is, but just in case, I feel like it would be responsible to go ahead and start putting these things in place. Now, remember, she mad anyway because he's showing up as a better person with Fatima. And so she's just like, well, I don't see why you would want to do that. And he goes, I just think it's the right thing to do. He goes, so I think it would be fair if I pay $3,000 a month towards the expenses to help take care of the baby. And she goes, $3,000. And he goes, yeah. And she goes, I see. And he goes, you see what? You keep kind of saying you see, like. And she goes, I see this big ASS house and the two cars outside and two nice ASS cars outside. And so he was just like, Karen. And she goes, no, let me finish, because it seems like you seem to be more worried about your money than what may be your child. Now, let me put a pin here. Yeah. he don't know if it's his baby. Like, I'm trying to figure out, why are we skating over the fact that you don't know who your baby daddy is? And you want this man to come in full emotionally, full financially, and just believe you just because you guys have dated on and off for 3 years. But here's the thing. Just like you think you know him, he know you. And so, I'm not really sure why I do know. It's the effects of this soul tie that makes her feel like entitled to have a right to Zach's money, to everything that Zach has. Like, so that's why she feels entitled to walk into his house and she should be able to do this and all this. But this soul tie really has her just in her feelings, not hearing reason at all, because why wouldn't you want to set up arrangement to help take care of a child that may not be his in the first place, right? Like, and that was an actual really good offer. But anyway, so, she tripped out and she starts getting upset, and she's like, no, that's not what this is about. She goes, no, yeah, it is. And she goes, but I just want you to know that I've always had my money. I don't need your money to take care of this baby. I've always had my own money, as you know. And I have Aaron, who, even though he knows this ain't his baby, he is he wants to be there and help take care of the baby. And so Zach is like I said, Karen, if I'm the father, I'm going to be there. And she goes, oh, good. The baby will have 2 fathers. Now, pause again. Now, the pettiness, and this is why I say Zach has really grown, because he usually ticks for tax her, but he didn't even engage, because the pettiness and it would have come out of me would have been like, well, that's only fair since it's going to have 2 mamas, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because once again, Karen keeps making it seem like she has all the decision making rights in this situation, and she doesn't. Once the baby comes out, no matter who the daddy is, you don't got full rights and privileges anymore, because it's outside of your body. The only reason you running stuff now is because it is inside of you. So anyway, Andy tries to interject in like Karen, like that was way out of line. And so basically, Zach, he doesn't get into it. And she was like, anyway, like I said, so if that's all. And so Zach was like, that's all I got. And she was like, all right, then. And so she gets up and she gets ready to walk out. And she's like, Zach, this is a really nice house. And Fatima goes, yes. And she goes, I wish you well in this struggle. And Fatima was like, Karen, just FYI, baby, this ain't a struggle. And she gonna tell her, well, you ain't been in it that long, so you don't really know. And so Fatima just finally jacks her. She's like, you know what, Karen, like, I don't think you wish me well at all, because if you did, you wouldn't be throwing shade. Like, you always like going back and forth and stuff. And so she turns around. She's like, well, you know what? You're right. I guess that's the human in me. I ain't perfect, but I really kind of want to be happy for you. You know what I'm saying? But it's just, I'm looking at you and I'm looking at him and y'all happy and it's effed up. And so Fatima was like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, shade. And she was like, I'm sorry, because I'm looking at like this desk and this house and everything that he did, and and the desk. So earlier when she sat down and started nitpicking at him, she was just like, if I wanted to have an attitude with you, I would be talking about that desk that you built. You said it was for me. Like, she all looking through their house and you bringing up stuff that don't have anything to do with anything. You guys are not together anymore. The fact that Zach built a desk for you is the pettiest thing ever, because who gives a dang? Like, I don't care if my dude built his ex-girlfriend a desk and then bought me one and built me the same one with the same color. I don't care. Thank you for building a desk, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, just she can't get over the fact that he's doing way more for Fatima. But anyway, so she's talking about, looking around the house and all the stuff that he's doing for her. And she's like, and all this stuff is pissing me off. And then she sees she looks over and she sees a ring on the table and she walks over. Now, again, this is entitlement, because what gives you the right to walk through their house the way that you do? So she walks over to this, it's like a sofa table, and she sees the ring on the finger. She goes, is this an engagement ring? And so Zach goes, yes, it is. And so she goes, so y'all engaged. And Fatima was looking at Zach like, you better get my ring out her hand. And so Zach grabs the ring and he goes, yes, we are engaged. And so that infuriates her even more. When I tell you this chick's soul is on fire at this point. And so she just takes this deep breath and she's like, okay, so you want me to sign papers so that the baby that you helped me make won't be a part of your life? And so Zach is like, no, but let me put a pin here because she is so just determined to always throw like the baby in his face. But this right here, when she said the baby that you helped me make, she made it seem like they planned this. And once again, Karen mocked. Zach did not sit down with you and say, let's have a baby. Let's sit down. Let's do this. Let's make this work. He didn't do that with you. Y'all got mad. He screwed you up against the wall in your office. You didn't even get a bed. You know what I'm saying? So let's not turn this into a family planning situation. This was not an intentional, let's plan to have a family like he's doing with Fatima. For those who do not know, in the Zatima season 1, episode 1, Zach told Fatima, he was like making plans. He was like, don't you want to have, I see some little Zachs and some little Fatimas running around. And she was like, yeah, maybe, but we got to get that ring first. And he was like, I'm working on it. I say that to say that this man is literally planning a future with Fatima. And so even though this is sisters, some of those things transferred over. So the beginning, so he moved her in Zatima into his home, and you come back over to sisters and they are in the home, they are engaged and everything. And I say that to say he's planning a family and a life with Fatima. Karen brought this subject up like the baby that you helped me make, as if they sat down and planned to have a baby and they didn't. And so he even is still being very mature and was like, Karen, that's not what I'm saying. And she was like, nah, so well, tell me what you want. Like, she got an attitude now, right? Because I know you ain't just met this chick. You built a house for her, moved her in the house, bought her a car, like proposed to her. Like, she is on fire. And you can tell. And so he's just like, I already told you what I want. And she's like, okay, I tell you what, we gonna make this easy for you, Andy. You read over the documents and look it over and I'll sign it. Okay. And then she storms off. But before she storms off, she's like, F-U-C-K. She mad, right? Like, 'cause she is heated. She can't even compose it. And so that again is another effect of the soul tie. Like, she just, now remember, we just left the house, your house, having a conversation a few days before where you said that you understood that you and Zach not together no more, but you mad that he did this for me. Of course, my man gonna do everything possible to help me pass my studies. You know what I'm saying? Like, building me a desk, you being petty about a desk that he built you in y'all relationship. Y'all not together no more, hun. Stop drawing all these conclusions and ties of what he did. Like, stop the compare and contrast, because that's what's making it harder for you to accept truth, is because you keep trying to see how much he is doing for Fatima versus how much he's done for you. That's not helping you. It's not helping your cause. It's not helping you get over him. It's helping you get more and more, obsessed actually with proving your point that, first of all, that you thinking that he gonna come back to you and all this is going to be yours. Because I believe that's at this point, the delusion of this soul tie has her still thinking that Zach is going to come back to her. And for those who may say, I don't know about that, just keep watching and keep listening, because it is. We not finished yet. Like, this is still not even the biggest crash out that happens in regards to this stuff within this these characters. So anyway, with that being said, she storms out, and when they leave, Zach grabs Fatima because she's just like, I'm so over this stuff. Like, you can just see the frustration, like, I'm just done. And so he grabs her hand and he's like, stop, stop, wait. And he's like, listen, I know I built the desk for her and I built it for you. And she's like, Zach, and I honestly don't think that bothered Fatima. Fatima is way more secure than that. She is not tripping that you built some desk for your ex-girlfriend, but she is just tired. Like, this is the second, this is like within a couple of days, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she keep every couple of days it's another argument with Karen. She's just exhausted most likely and just need a minute. And so he grabs her and he's just like, wait, listen, I'm sorry. Basically, he's like, listen, I know this is a lot. And he's like, and if you don't want to marry me no more, I get it. Like, this is just a lot and this ain't nothing. I can't do nothing about it. I can't fix it. When a man is in love with a woman, he tries to fix things that he sees as hurting her. I'm looking at you, watch her, and I'm looking at the hurt in your face. And this is not about me. This is about you, Fatima. Like, I love you enough to know you deserve better than this. And so she stops him and she's like, listen, Zach, this is a lot, basically. She's like, but I'm not ready to tap out yet, basically. You know, she's like, this is just a lot and I need to think through some stuff. She was like, I still have to be careful, you know, because my heart is invested in all this too. This is my life too. And so I just need some time to think, but I'll let you know when it gets to be too much. And so he's like, okay, well, just please promise me that you'll let me know. And she was like, I will. And then, you know, they hug and stuff. And so anyway, that was the crash out after that. So we'll go ahead and end this video here. And